get to it. And you are listening to IPAC Chat. I am Paul, broadcasting to you on the top level of my underground bunker, because I don't know about you, but I could just feel, that things are wanting to pop off. What about these drones? I mean, come on, man. You know what I'm starting to wonder? I'd like to know your thoughts. But are we looking at some bizarre marketing gimmick? You remember the monolith? They were mysteriously being found in deserts and in ice caves all across the world. And it turned out that it was just some really astute marketing individuals wanting to promote their business. Are these drones simply a marketing gimmick? I mean, it's getting real squirrely out there. You got people getting wonky, acting strange, and what are your thoughts? Is it something far more sinister going on? You know, if they dropped, whether it be via drone or something else, an EMP, has anybody ever thought about what would life be like, God forbid, if one or more EMPs were dropped over North America? Have you thought about the ramifications? I mean, you know, I think it was Gingrich who really did a lot of studies on EMP. If you're not sure what an EMP is, it's an electromagnetic pulse. Essentially, a nuke gets deployed very high altitude, and it fries every electronic out there, whether it be your car, your cell phone. Think about it. You couldn't watch YouTube videos anymore. It wouldn't take long for panic to ensue and chaos to just erupt. I mean, imagine you're cruising. If you're in the Chicagoland area, you're cruising down the Kennedy Expressway. Everything's fine. All of a sudden, car starts to sputter. Radio goes out. Cell phone, no power. You come to a halt and acknowledge that everyone around you, unbeknownst to them, for some bizarre reason, simply the lights went out. Now you got to walk home. By the way, do you have a bug out bag? Do you have a bag in your car ready to get you home? Maybe with some pew seeds in there? Maybe some extra water, some beef jerky. So anyways, the popo won't be responding. And how long do you think it would take for the criminal element and those who, the criminal element to acknowledge that, you know, there is no more rule of law? Can one of these drones be that sinister where they're dropping some form of ordinance, something dirty, you know, on a major metropolitan area? I mean, we're having airspaces being closed down, but the potentates, they all say, don't worry about it. It ain't sinister. But yet we're getting no clear answer. So I just can't put my finger on it. I'd love to see what your guys' thoughts is. Do we have a marketing gimmick on our hands where somebody is just trying to draw attention to a certain subject, ultimately trying to peel you from your money? Or are they something far more sinister involved? By the way, the markets took a tumble today. The Dow Jones down a little over 1,100 points. I think the NASDAQ a little over 700 points. Gold, I hate to say it, I posted it on the book not long ago, indicating that I believe gold has hit its all-time high, and that pretty soon, well, no, as of that point, it'd be time to take some profits on it. And then it had a resurgence. I don't know if you saw that. It had a resurgence, but man, it took a beating today. I want to say, and it's still going down, even after the market is closed. 50, 80 bucks an ounce? So I think it had peaked out at like 2,800 or something like that an ounce. And we're all the way down to just below that $2,600 mark, of which I believe that is some serious resistance there. But what do I know? What do I know? The corn, the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is tumbling too, although it was pretty amazing. You know, everyone talks about how the corn is such a bizarre concept, and how can you trust something that you cannot touch? But yet, man, those guys that bought it 10 years ago for a couple bucks for each Bitcoin, they sure have a different perspective today. By the way, there are no updates on PICA, the Protect Illinois Communities Act. I don't know if you remember, a little over 30 days ago, a judge in Southern Illinois had put a stay on it. Of course, it went to the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals, and we are just kind of in limbo. Would have been nice to get a Christmas gift on that one, wouldn't you say? But don't we all know that the government tends to love gun control only for the citizenry, but it never quite works for them. What about all the gun control, all the laws and regulations and enacting rules? What good did that do to an individual who committed that heinous, horrible act the other day at that school? And what did those laws, regulations, rules, what did they do to stop that individual from committing that crime? How many times do we have to say it over and over? They don't work. They don't work. You can add more, and it just ain't gonna cut it. By the way, we know that U.S. foreign aid spending is like watering the neighbor's yard while your house is on fire. I am happy to hear, and this is breaking news, that coming from the Chicago Tribune, that the president-elect abruptly rejects a bipartisan plan to prevent government shutdown. Now we know, I think the deadline is on this Friday, if I'm correct. Instead, he tells the House Speaker, Johnson, and the R's to essentially renegotiate days before a deadline when that federal funding runs out. Listen, if the government shuts down this Friday, basically you're looking at the national parks won't have access. How much money are we going to save? There is so much pork that was in this gobbledygook, fugazi stuff that they're putting together, against spending all of our money. And fortunately, somebody needs to stand up and say that is enough. When does it stop? When does it stop? I mean, it's just crazy. All right. So, California announces are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? It just may be popping off. A state of emergency has been announced in the state of California for the that's going around. Now, this time it has to do with the fowl that flutters the sky, and I'm sure you've heard of it. But there's a very, very severe case being held or found in California. State of emergency has been declared. And, well, what's that going to lead to? I'd like to know, what are your thoughts? Is this a foreshadowing of another of 2020? I mean, they really took it and they ran with it, man. I mean, remember when the small businesses were saying, like, hey, you can't come in here. You can't come in here and spend your money unless you got that diaper on, and then you got to show proof of all that stuff. I mean, remember, is this going to be another round of all that fun, lovely stuff that we simply allowed? But going back to the drones, guys, I can't put my finger on it. They're being elusive on so many different levels. What are your thoughts on the drones? Is this sinister? Is this a marketing gimmick? I need help here, because my thought is it's going to be one or the other, right? I'm starting to think that you got some big corporation out there trying to draw attention for some reason or another. We don't know. And if so, they're getting a lot of publicity over it, drawing some attention to the activities that are happening in multiple states in our skies. They keep saying that they're perfectly legal. They keep saying that there's no danger yet, right? Yet to the public. Is it sinister? Is it a marketing gimmick? Are we prepping for the big one? Also today, the S&P 500 falls sharply after the Fed cuts rates by another 25 basis points. As you know, everything then thereafter began to plummet. It appears as if inflation is remaining sticky. I mean, how do you feel? When you go to the grocery store, you seeing some things fall, but other things still remaining very expensive. I mean, how about eggs, man? Have you looked at the price of eggs lately? Atrocious. It appears as if inflation is going to stick around. It also appears that the Fed is signaling that there will be less interest rate cuts coming in 2025, which means that a lot of these businesses that require loans, it's killing them, it's crushing them for the fact that they're paying high interest on these loans. How about your average American? Look at the credit card interest rate on your statement. It's insane. You know, I saw from a big bank. I couldn't believe it. It said, you know, we'll loan you. A friend was showing me. We'll loan you 20 grand or something like that, and it's zero interest for 1 year. But guess how much the interest rate was after the period of that 12 months? After the period of that 12 months, I was flabbergasted. Who can afford this? How would anybody ever pay it off? It was at like 21%. Are you kidding me? 21% on a loan with big bank, right? I thought that was really kind of a daunting. Who can afford it? Who can afford to pay something? Why take the loan? I guess you would really have to be in a desperate situation. But is that what loans are for? For a desperate situation? Or are they really meant to advance your life? Whether it be, buying an asset, buying real estate, whatever the case may be. So we shall see where that kind of winds up. I personally think that we're going to continue to see inflation be very sticky. I don't think the Fed's going to be doing any more cuts anytime soon, and they're going to be certainly slowed in the near future throughout 2025. And we got to get rid of that whole beast, man. Got to ban the Fed, if you ask me, as they are really mucking things up. Well, I have to say, it's been about a week now. I've been on some vacation time. I had a little extra time today. I got the fire going, hanging out in the top level of the underground bunker, because I don't know about you, but I feel that it's just may pop very, very soon. Very, very soon, it just may be getting a bit ugly. All right, so let's see. Of course, there's only one site that I go to when it comes to news. As we know, on other platforms, it's really not easy to get anything truthful, right? And you certainly aren't going to get it from those mainstays, those legacies. They're going to just go ahead and feed you. Oh, the Bears are winning, right? Okay, so back to that, the bill that it appears to be busted. It was $3 billion for a new NFL stadium in D.C. That's what our tax dollars. They're trying to push through as we speak, folks. Have they not learned their lesson yet? Hey, big guy. Long time no see, Paisan. Good to see you in the comments. Yeah, he's saying that Illinois, and there's certain words. By the way, I'm here on YouTube. I'm also on the book over here, so there's some things I got to be careful. But Illinois denied a CCW because of an incident. You know, when will the laws that our elected officials enact, when will they actually be beneficial to we the people? These individuals, and I see it's not just you, Paisan, and again, it's good to see you, by the way, Merry Christmas. It's not just you. I did a video not long ago where a elderly woman was unable to successfully meet the requirements for her concealed carry in Illinois. And essentially, she was left hung to dry. She was a victim of a robbery twice, lived in Lincolnwood, all right? And she just wanted to walk her poodle around the block and feel safe and maybe go to 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee. She was unable to exercise her constitutional right to bear arms because she was unable to meet the requirements. All right, why? Because that's a law. How about we go to the FOID Card Act? An individual like yourself, sir. The FOID Card Act will, and I've said it for years, will strip an individual's rights from something maybe that happened a long time ago, or maybe they didn't quite check all the boxes, or whatever that thing. There you go, another law through through that law, yet another person. I see it time and time again. I'll be honest with you, it really makes me angry. Makes me angry. I keep pressing forward. Sometimes I feel like I'm a voice shouting in the wilderness. I know I'm not. I know I'm not. We just saw in our recent elections that there was a mandate. There was a mandate that came down from the people demanding change. My question is, are they going to mess it up? Are they going to drop that ball? Are they going to become too relaxed, too lax, and ultimately, piss away what should be a great thing? I'm trying to be optimistic. Yeah, that's, let me ask you this, Paisan, big guy, in the comments, did you submit an appeal? If you didn't, I hope that you did, and did it in the time frame in which they allocated. So back to the old X. By the way, it's, again, if you're not there, there's a lot of really good, down-to-earth news. Of course, you have to use your filter. You got to discern. We got to have discernment. We got to have discretion on what's real and what's not. All right, but I don't need some dude in a foreign land somewhere telling me that my ideologies are incorrect. Okay, by the way, Michigan, you ready for this? Here we go, back to Illinois, Michigan, one and the same. State of Michigan proposes a bill that the pew-pew, you see this pew-pew in front of me? That's a training one, right? The pew-pew can only come in standard colors, right? They're not a big fan of having these pink ones. The state of Michigan's not a big fan of seeing the camo-colored ones. Somebody maybe wants to bling out their pew-pew. State of Michigan is saying that in this bill, in this proposal, that one of your store-bought pew-pews must be of a standard color, and that can only be black or gray. So for you ladies out there that are wanting to get yourself a nice pink one, because that's what makes you feel good, no bueno in the state of Michigan should that bill pass. All right. Let's see here. Biden, one thing we haven't been able to change yet. By the way, I'm just scrolling on my timeline here. Haven't been able to change yet is you go to a grocery store, a dozen eggs, a gallon of milk, and a pound of bacon still costs more than it did before in 2020. And he very sympathetically looks at the interviewer and states, that's a lot of money for people. Wow. And is it that he cannot figure it out? Is it the fact that he truly believes that he has done everything in his capability to bring prices down? Or is it, again, it goes back to, is it sinister? Is it sinister? I can't put my finger on that one as well. All right. So big guy saying, yeah, he did appeal, excuse me, and they sent me the same form letter again, except for 2 extra words after review. then we have determined X, Y, and Z. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I would hope, just like another follower, I had a live video earlier today. My birds were eating and prepping our garden. It was, I think, Raphael from Lake in the Hills, Illinois, and now he changed his name to Raphael from Tennessee. Maybe one day we can get out of there and go to a state that appreciates us as productive individuals rather than Illinois. And that was one of my comments, is Illinois doesn't deserve a good person like Mr. Raphael. Let me know if I can help you, big guy. Of course, my phone is always open. All right. Guess that's all I'm seeing. You know, like I said, I had a little extra time. I see there's 7 or 8 people tuned in, just kind of observing. I'm cool with that. Had a little extra time. Had gotten a fire going. I'm gonna throw some more in here. Oh yeah, it's looking beautiful. I wish you guys can see inside there. Like throwing in the bark. That's gonna come a-blazing. Well, I said I was recording here on the book, but now it's telling me my battery is low. Shouldn't have been. Well, it's still recording. Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Let's see. What else we got going on? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. You know, I hope you and your family are well. Don't feel, this is just my opinion, don't feel like you got to go out there and spend a bunch of money. Spend a bunch of money on stuff that is, you know, produced in other nations, right? Produced in other nations that really don't benefit us much, right? But poor quality. We got our kids some reasonable stuff, but last several years we've been kind of chilling out on that. And you know why? Yeah, Merry Christmas to you too, Mr. Vega. I think it's important to, and I'm seeing a shift. I'm seeing a shift happen that people are becoming less consumers, maybe, right? Where I gotta have, I gotta buy, I gotta, you know, and starting to say, you know what? I'm looking at my needs rather than my wants. Now, partially of this has been years now of high inflation and just tumultuous, you know, economic issues, right? People are having a hard time. They're struggling. And I think that it is kind of teaching people about needs versus wants. My opinion is we kind of said this time, we ain't going to go dump a bunch of money on garbage, right? Poorly made garbage that is, you know, being shipped across the world that does us very little benefit, especially when, you know, it's being purchased from a big corporation like Walmart, right? I mean, who is really benefiting to it? So, you know, of course, you know what's best for your family, but for ours, we've kind of chilled out on that. And, you know, I do hope that in this Christmas time that we do really focus on, you know, our families, and that we focus on the importance of Christmas. And, you know, by the way, another side note, again, I told you, I just came to you live today. I had some time. You know, I had a goal in 2024. I know this is out there. But my goal in 2024 was to bring family together more. You know, my children need to know who their great aunts are, right? My children need to know who their great uncles are. My children need to know who their cousins are because I grew up with that. I bet you a lot of you can attest to. Remember back in the day, 70s, 80s, even the 90s, that you just go knock on your cousin's door, you show up. Sundays were typically family time. Everyone gathered around a table, we're eating, we're commiserating with one another. And those are very important times. It's then when people are talking about politics. It's then when people are talking about religion. It's then when people are talking about finances. All this stuff that they tell us we should not be talking about is precisely what should be done in a family setting. And well, I've made it a goal this year, and I'm actually pretty proud of myself. I'm not boasting or anything. I'm pretty proud of myself. I was able to accomplish that, and not just bringing family together and hanging out more, but in fact, bringing them to church. And I think it's so cool. It feels so old-fashioned. I walk into church, and now none of these people, they were good people, but they weren't churchgoers, all right? And now, I'll walk in, I'll be like, hey, there's my aunt, my children's great aunt. Hey, there's my children's grandma. Hey, there's my children's great uncle. They're cousins. And it's been pretty neat. So I have to say, I'm pretty proud of myself for initiating that. It didn't take a lot of work. It did take making some phone calls. Hey, you going to be there? And can I stop by? You want to stop by? The wife's cooking. Come on over. No big deal. But I have to say that it has worked pretty well. And I would encourage you folks. I would encourage you to do exactly that. As I tell my kids, family is all you got, man. Family is all you got. You're lucky. My father always told me, you're lucky if in your life you can have 3 to 5 real friends, real friends. Hey, I get it. Some people get a lot more than that. God bless them, and they should consider themselves to be fortunate. But there's, a lot of folks that, they don't even know what it's like to. I know I'm getting soft on here, but even know what it's like to get a hug, right? They don't know what it's like to get a handshake, a hug, conversation with somebody real, who's not out to grab their money, who's not out to, deceive them, just being real and cool with people. Anyways, my thought is if you're able, it's worth initiating. Even if you got a beef, with that family member, absolutely none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. We're not guaranteed the next breath. And so just a thought on that. So what's going to be the goal for my goal? I don't know about you. What's going to be your goal for 2025? 2025. For me? Guess I haven't thought about it much. I haven't thought about that much. I'm so busy and consumed in getting through 2024 and achieving goals and everything. I'm just going to grab some water that I guess I really haven't considered. I certainly would like to try to make more money. As you guys know, I'm an entrepreneur. And making money isn't always easy. I think every single one of us can agree on that. No? Making money is not always easy. Sometimes you get the bear, and sometimes the bear gets you. Check out this barn cat. This guy. He's the one that catches the mice around here. Okay, he's purring. Check out this guy. Here. You guys see him on there? He's a perm. Maybe you can hear his motor. His name is Heathcliff. He's a cool cat. Yeah, I always find it interesting. He catches mice all the time in here. He, they always eat the heads off first. Why is that? Is it softness? Is it the most nutrition? Maybe that's our problem. We don't drink from the skulls of our enemies anymore. Is that our problem, folks? Get out of here, cat. All right. Well, all right. Let's see. Big guy, you're still here. Hey, you moved to Wisconsin. That's great. Their process is less convenient, but has less BS. And now he ain't going to go away. Well, that's good to hear. Oh, all success to you, my friend. The Everyone's better than Illinois. I was talking about Michigan earlier. Michigan is trying to buddy up with Illinois, but they still have their strongholds of being a good state. But nonetheless, Wisconsin is a great state. I always warn the people of Wisconsin. It seems like they want to become sometimes more like Illinois, and for the love of God, don't do it because everyone's fleeing. It's funny. I love it when folks send me like a short video or a picture of them cutting up their FOID card, and they're like, "Paul, whoa, get out of here, cat! You're gonna break stuff." Paul, I'm breaking free from Illinois and the tyranny. I'm breaking free from the high taxes, high regulation. I'm breaking free from the crime. Well, now you guys know why I don't always introduce the cat. All right, he's going to have to hang out with me because dude's going to end up knocking over my stuff. So they're breaking free. And I think it's really cool when they send me a picture of them breaking up or cutting up their FOID card or something along those lines. You got to stop, man. I mean, this is a live video. And, yeah, go find a mouse, man. All right. So it's great to hear, big guy, that you're in Wisconsin. I hope that your quality of life is improving. I hope your finances are doing well there. It can be done. A lot of times people want to stick around in Illinois because making money tends to be a bit easier. And they often tell me they're sacrificing. They're sacrificing to leave and to live elsewhere. I'm going to say the sacrifice is worth it. Some luck out and actually make more. Yeah, Heathcliff. Brains maybe, dense fat, protein. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just creepy when you see like a decapitated corpse and there's just no head. And then you hear crunch, crunch, crunch. This guy's chewing out. I'm going to try to ditch him again. All right, cat, get out of here. Well. Hey, Tennessee Patriot. Appreciate you tuning in, man. I hope that all is well in the great state of Tennessee. Seems like a lot of Illinoisans are actually fleeing to your state. Hopefully not too many, though. Or if they do show up, they learn to vote differently. Wouldn't you agree with me, Mr. Patriot? Because, that's certainly a way to ruin an otherwise good environment. All right, let's see. This cat knocked my page out here, but it was worth it. I don't think I've ever actually introduced him in a live video before. He's back. Cat, enough. Maybe I should stop giving him attention, huh? But he's just so cool. He gets rid of the mice. That's my buddy there. All right. Well, it appears that Senator Rand Paul announces he will delay the passage of the massive omnibus spending bill if it does clear the House, potentially leading to a government shutdown if not passed by Friday. You know what they're going to do then? What they're going to do is then start going after the children. I mean, there's going to be a lot of tears, a lot of crying, a lot of for the children, and the children and the seniors. If we don't continue feeding this over-bloated government, the most vulnerable will suffer, and that is when they start playing dirty. And they'll do it. You know they will. All right. I think that's about all that I got here. Hey, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Beautiful fire going. Mr. Stosh, by the way, it was good seeing you the other day, sir. I enjoy that you're getting a nice walk around the neighborhood and stopping by the classes. Maybe if you have a mouse in my pocket. I got nothing, man. I got nothing. This cat, nothing phases that creature. He just, even sometimes I'll go shooting. right? I'll be shooting out there, and I got to keep an eye out for him because I'm unloading my 12 gauge. Boom, 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 and the cat's just right there. Nothing phases that guy. Very interesting. Tennessee Patriot. The last year, they've been moving fast and raising our property price. That's the problem. And bringing, oh, I can't see because it's kind of blocked out. There's a big heart on my phone. Maybe if I give the heart, it'll go away. Bringing the blank to our countryside. You know, I think we can all agree taxation is theft. Taxation is theft. And they're never going to stop. They're never going to stop. There's always going to be about the children. I love children. I have children. It's going to be about the seniors. I love seniors. My parents are seniors, all right? But they'll never stop. And they're going to continue to use threats to extort and steal our money. And if I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but this next wave of leadership, again, remember, I'm talking on two platforms here, so I got to choose my words carefully. The next wave of leadership that's being installed in 2025, they may lower some, right? But it ain't enough. It ain't enough. And we must, I think, continue to be boisterous and saying, hey, I worked for that. It's mine, all right? Between license plate stickers, city stickers, bottled water taxes, tax on a plastic bag, property taxes. I was just talking to a guy the other day. He lives in Edgebrook, all right, far northwest side of Chicago. Was a nice neighborhood, but that's rapidly changing. And his taxes went up for his property 30%. Now here's a hard-working Chicagoan, worked his entire life, who's now a senior, all right, and it's property tax. Well, okay, you can appeal it. You could try to make it better. Look at the loops a person has to jump through, and he's saying, I just don't want to be here anymore. And that same thing is going to be happening, my friend, as you're witnessing, Mr. Tennessee Patriot, and it's going to continue to be boisterous. We cannot allow them to just run us over. Jose Paisan, thank you, and Merry Christmas to you as well. I hope your family and your life is doing well. And appreciate you tuning in, man, and just kind of hanging out here. I think it's cool. I know all these wonderful people. Well, Tennessee Patriot, I don't think I know you, but thank you, Paisan. It's just great. I think being able to do this. Big guy, yeah, I'm all for reasonable taxes, but the current system is out of control. No doubt, and I concur with that statement wholeheartedly. Surprisingly, property tax down in Wisconsin, but only 3 1/3. Yet Edgebrook is going fast. Yeah, you know the northwest side. Trio's Pizza. So I'm on Higgins. In Chirac. Trio's Pizza, right? Been there since the 60s. Excellent pizza. Half block and across the street down from my location. And there I am scrolling through Twitter, and hey, I recognize that. And I see that the front door has been broken in. The cash register is out on Higgins. It's been taken out onto the street, being slammed onto the street, kicked, pried open. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? The crime on the northwest side, specifically Norwood Park, Edgebrook, Edison Park, is really getting stupid. And, I'm thinking, am I going to be next? Am I going to show up on a Saturday morning to teach concealed carry classes, and my windows are going to be shattered because some knucklehead, wants to try to get what? There's nothing in there. There's nothing of any value. It ain't worth it, bad guys. By the way, we can all do ourselves a favor. Of course, never get involved. But we could be a good witness, can we not? I mean, you're cruising down Higgins. Take a look at the small businesses. I see a lot of times I'm out back in the parking lot, and I'll see you guys walk by, right? You're heading to Dino's, you're heading to Trios, get some food, whatever. Feel free to always take a look. You have every right to look at my doors. If everything looks good, again, I'm not saying get involved. It's not worth it. But feel free to always look out. And because I know when I'm cruising around, I'm living my life, I'm always in condition yellow, keeping my eyes open, looking for anything that may not quite look right, suspicious activity. So back to trios, they're slamming the cash register in the middle of the sidewalk on Higgins. Cars are passing by, and I didn't see a single car tap its brake. Slow down, and that doesn't make them bad people. What it does tell me is maybe we're not being aware of our surroundings quite enough. And anyways, feel free if you ever drive past my place, you want to go around the back and just shine a light on the back door. See something suspicious, just call the popo. Jose, up here in North Lake, property taxes went well over 30%. You aren't the only one, and that's not meant to make you feel good. It should really tick you off, man, because taxation is theft. Let me ask you this, Mr. Jose. What are you getting out of it? And the guy I was talking about in Edgebrook, who his went up significantly, what are we actually getting out of it? It ain't the streets, it ain't the curbs, it ain't the infrastructure, it ain't the schools in Chicago. The schools are crap. The kids can't even read. There's no comprehension. They're having difficulties with basic communication skills. By the way, you shake a kid's hand lately, a teenager or a kid's hand lately, there's nothing there. And you feel like you're holding a piece of Jell-O. So, what are we getting out of these absorbent high taxes? It's all pork. It's all waste. Look at the vice mayor of Chicago. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you know otherwise, please let me know in the comments. Is to my understanding that the vice mayor of Chicago, who essentially does absolutely nothing, has no powers. He's just basically there in case the mayor bites the dust, is making $400,000 a year. Are you kidding me? $400K a year to be the vice mayor of Chicago? I don't know. Is my number wrong? Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, because I think that's insane. And that's what our property taxes are going to. Nothing but a bunch of waste. Nothing but a bunch of waste. And we're putting it on the bill, and it's going to be our children's debt and problem with interest in the future. All right. Well, that was fun. There's got to be a way. Maybe, what if I did this again and you guys were able to call in? Would that be where I can actually talk to you and then have another caller call in? If you think that's a good idea, I'll put a phone number out there. Like right now, phone rings, I call or I answer, and then we could talk and then move on. You think that's a good idea? A good idea, yeah? No? Oh, I forget there's probably a delay of about 30 seconds. So I'm expecting an immediate response. See, that wouldn't happen in a phone call. Oh, man. Well, what is today? What's the date today? I told you I'm kind of on holiday right now. So it's the 18th. It's Wednesday. The market's crashed. You think tomorrow the markets are going to go up? Is now the time to buy? If the markets go down consecutively over the next several days, is that the time to start buying? Or do you all think that it's just going to continue to go down? Historically, over time, it always goes up. There are buying opportunities. And I just not sure when to put my finger on it. We get another several days of a downturn in the market. I think a lot of people are going to say it's an excellent time to buy, right? You want to buy when things are on sale. Of course, many can be skeptical and say, hey, man, we ain't seen nothing yet. We're going to see a full 20% correction in the market, and it's right around the corner. That makes sense to me. Now, I'm no economist. I just dabble. But it can only go up for so long, right? Eventually, there's got to be a correction. And I'm guessing that is what, maybe just around half corner. In 2020, big guy, that gold That gold was what I think about. Well, yeah, 2020, 21 was 1,600 an ounce. 17 started approaching that 1,800 an ounce, and just what a couple weeks ago was at 2,800. I think that was a good time to sell because we just dipped below that line of resistance, meaning just dipped below 2,600. I think we're at like 2,596 or something like that. I fear that gold is going to continue to go down. I could be wrong. What do I know? But I think it's time for folks to take some profit on that. And then, again, it's cycle. That pendulum swings. It's a cycle. And then buy it up when it is cheap. Again. All right. Well, let's see. Does my fire need more sticks here? It does. I don't have much more to say. I had a couple of topics, but there's a bunch of people here, so I want to hang out with you. It's hot in there. Woo-wee. I have a tremendous amount of timber that I've been sawing and breaking up. Cut down several trees. And I spent maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 days straight with a chainsaw, just cutting it all up. I've been stacking it. It's great having a fire. I think it smells beautiful, especially the pine. Oh, I love the way pine gets really smoky, but I do love the way it smells. Let's see, this is still going. Great, appreciate it. All right, folks. As always, I do appreciate you. Have a Merry Christmas. Including myself, got to set some goals for 2025. We actually got to go through with it, right? We can talk all we want, but if we don't actually put in action, so I would encourage you. I'm here to encourage you to set your goals, reach them. Even if you don't succeed, that's all right. The one who fails the most is he who never tries at all. So I would encourage you on that. I would encourage you to go to church. I know that's a topic nobody wants to talk about. You know what I told my children regarding church? At least for me, in my experience, I have found that all the arts are actually found there. What am I talking about? In the last year, we've made a very concerted effort to start going. And in the course of a year, my daughter consistently, multiple times a month, is playing trombone with a full band, all right? Now, here's a child that just picked it up a year and a half ago. She don't get some musical gene from me. As you know, I'm a professional musician, but she doesn't get it from me. She's worked at it. But she was forced to do something live in front of people over and over and over again. And my daughter is now doing fantastic, and she can pick that thing up, and I forget what she calls it. It's zipping. I mean, it sounds really cool. It sounds really cool. She's doing it consistently live, and is also becoming comfortable at reading in front of a group of people. In fact, we just did a Christmas play. My son was involved in it, so there's acting involved, reading involved, singing involved, musical instruments involved, rhythm is involved. It is a sound system. How do you run that sound system? All the technicals from the third octave equalizer to power conditioners to the sliders and mute buttons and reverb and treble and middle and bass, all that stuff. And they are learning so much from going to church. I'm telling you, all the arts are coming from there, and they could be fostered and built upon. It's free to go. You find yourself a good place. It's free to go. I can only encourage you. That's what I've been doing. And for me and my family, it has been highly beneficial. All right, with that being said, folks, I love you. I thank you. Merry Christmas. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll try to do this again. Maybe I'll put out a phone number. If I put out a phone number, you guys can call in live. I think that'd be cool because it does get a little rough. Just keep talking. I appreciate the comments, but talking to myself, I don't know what's going through your minds out there. So, all right, Chicago, America, appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to this channel. Feel free to always share my videos. I've been posting videos of fires going, it puts you to sleep type thing, the chickens eating, prepping the garden. If you find that interesting, always feel free to share them. Also on other social media, on the book.